Can you tell me about what kind of a person your dad was?
Well, my dad was a very calm man. My dad, even been home yet, you could not get him too easy to get excited. I don't remember him to get excited. Let me just because we're talking of that more, and I was that time 16 years old. They picked up that time the communists picked up everybody, Romanians and Hungarians, not Serbians, Hungarians, Romanians, and Germans, and they got us on the train, and we got into a concentration camp, very bad. But they realized that the Hungarian people and the Romanian people, somehow it came very soon that they had let them go home. As far as I know, they even made a mistake that they picked them up, but they picked us up. But we were in huge barracks where they used to have planes in it. And you know how a plane yeah, is big. And there was the Hungarians in, and they used to come there and open the door, the main big door, and ask any Germans in there. And the Hungarian people, 90% worked for my dad. They said to my dad, you go right back all the way in the hangar, and sit down there, so that you don't hear if they say any Germans there, because they knew that he was a Nazarene, a believer, that he would not lie. If they asked any Germans, he would step out. But he was sitting there in the back, and one man betrayed him. One man said to the guard there is one German right in the back there. And they came back there and got my dad, and they beat him. And my dad said, the strong man is he who takes the beating, not he who beats. But my dad took it. I can't even exactly say that how he got them closer down, and all that. But to go with that story, because of my dad, I would estimate about at least 8 years after, or just about 10 years after, when I was in the army and then came home and come into hometown and met a lot of people, and a lot of people wondered, who is this young man? Because all they knew me when I was a little boy, and I was quite chubby, and here I come back as a young man, and then they said, well, this is Frank Weinhardt's son. But people respected, people were nice to me. I used to go as a young man into the hotel. There was a hotel there, and had friends. I had some money. I don't want to get into that how, but I had some money. I used to tell my friends, says, look, I'll pay the wine. But they used to order like 5 liter wine, and they sit on the table and drink the wine. And I said, I'll pay the wine, but don't make me drink. I liked maybe a glass of wine with a little bit of soda water in it. And we sitting in the hotel on the table, and one my friends come up to me and whispered in my ear. He says, see that man over there? This is the man who betrayed your father in the camp there. And I was a young man, I was not little, and my friends there all thought that I will go there and punch him. No, I walked up to him, and he recognized me right away. And I said to him, tell me, what did my father do to you? Do he owe you anything? I'll pay you. I'll pay everything my father maybe made wrong to you. That he didn't give you the wages or something. The man just sat a little bit and then he got up and rushed out from the hotel. But to tell you just about what kind of man this was, this man went with some other man to the city, to the capital city, and dig out foundations for high-rising buildings. And they used to work this by cubic meter, like digging out and with a wheelbarrow and pushing. They made good money. They paid good money. But the problem was with these people, some of them, not all, they played cards and for money. And this man lost his money by playing the cards. And the guy who won the money went out for a leak. And as he went out, this man went out too and killed him with a shovel. Hit him over the head and killed him and took the money. But they caught him, and he went to prison and all that. But just to know what kind of man this was. This man who betrayed my father was not a welcome man in town, as far as I knew, because I knew the people. People, just to talk about that time, again, it was a miracle to me how God supplied, how God had, when I came to the town, as they used to say, I was poor as a church mouse, because in a church is for the mouse nothing to eat. But that's what they used to call it. But my brother Leslie, who went to Germany, I couldn't tell you exactly how this happened. He took some feathers along, but he sent me some parcels from Germany. And in these parcels used to be some kerchief, very nice flowered kerchiefs, and stockings, and all kinds of other goodies. But the main thing was these kerchief, for ladies, girls' kerchief. And I had a lot of these kerchiefs, and I sold a kerchief to some young boys who had girlfriends, some to their wives, for a month's wages. That was a lot of money. Let me tell you, to me it was a very exciting day. I was at the market. They used to have a market there, and they used to sell all kinds of stuff, eggs and this and that, and sometimes little pigs and chickens and voila. And I was at the market there, and the postmaster, came and said, "Hey, Konrad, you got 2 parcels at the post office." So I went to the post office, and there were 2 parcels and a lot of kerchiefs. And I got some kerchiefs, and I said to my friends, if you sell 1 kerchief for cash money, because people, young men used to give me so much money and paid me every month. And I had a little booklet where how much they owed me and so forth. And I said to them, look, you sell 1 kerchief, cash money, but there was some Romanian who loved them kerchiefs very much. And they took from 3 to 3 a rope and hanged up these kerchiefs so nobody could touch them. And they sold them. And so there I got, how should I say, could say I got some money, you know. And just to talking about that, to me it was very interesting. Maybe you are interested, you know. But again, it is God had lead. I mean, people were very kind to me and respected. Even if I didn't own any more land, I didn't own nothing but what I sold kerchiefs and made some business, because I was always how should I say, make business. I don't want to get into that. Even before, in the German time, you know, I could tell you quite stories about business and
You sold cigarettes, right?
yes, yes, you know, it is a little bit of business is more than big hand working, you know. But anyway, and I used to come into town for my cousin who was on a farm in a horseback riding, and I used to put it into a stall, and he used to be our neighbor on the farm, but he was the mayor in town. A very wealthy man, was wealthy, I mean, but communism took a lot of stuff from him, and he was in a lot of tax problems, you know. And as I had the horse in the barn, he used to handle stallions, beautiful stallions, beautiful black stallions, you know. And he said to me, I have to sell the stallion. And I said to him, just for fun, if I wouldn't plan to go to Germany, I would buy that. And he says to me, do you got some money? I said, yeah, I got some. Could you borrow me some money? And I said, yeah. Well, I brought the money in a shoebox, cash money. And the point is this, in the barn, him and I, no witnesses, nobody. I count them out, quite amount of money. And he says, I'll pay you back very soon. And you know, I thought on it after, the man and myself, and he did. He paid me back, you know. He was very glad. I think he sold something else instead of stallion and so forth. But again, I have to include in my mind right away, and I believe the Spirit reminds me to let know, whoever you are will listen to this, how God had went from step to step. Just, and then the time came that I did decided to go to Germany, and I said to my cousin's husband, who was the doctor in town, tell the people I want to buy feathers and so forth. Maybe we talked about that. You heard that. But the thing is, I left and took feathers along. I would estimate about 10 years after, when I came to visit with Benitant, my wife, my cousin said, you know, people came back to me and says, I owe him some money. And when I came for a visit, people heard that in town, the whole town, with no telephone. It went, you know. People came to me and said, hey, Konrad, I still owe you something. You don't owe me nothing. The people figured they still owe me money, because I had a little booklet, you know. And just to talk about this, the doctor said one time, I remember that, people look more for you than for me as a doctor. But again, I will put in there, God was there, you know. He had everything. And we got to remember one thing. I'm talking from experience. God's plans, and the Bible says that. God's ways are not our ways. We have ways. We think this and that. No, let him. Let him. Is it any decisions to make? Is it by land? Is it most important is even young unmarried one, who will I marry? Or the young man said, it was easy for my father, he married my mother. Yeah, how should I go and marry a strange girl? No, leave that to God. Put that in God's hand. He'll find it. He'll go. He will not hand it out and give it to you. You gotta put your part to it. You gotta ask God for it, and God will do it.